Hello, Knights fans, and welcome to another edition of the Knights Baseball Roundup. We are inside the FDU Baseball locker room, and I am, of course, as always, joined by the FDU Baseball coach, Gary Puccio. How you doing, Gary?
How are you, Ryan? Good to see you.
I'm good. Good to see you as well. Let's talk about the three-game set. You went to Kentucky. Last week we were talking about how weather wasn't going to be great. You think you're going south, you're going to Kentucky, and I think Fratty called it a tundra.
Yeah, it had its moments. How was it? Yeah, I think Friday the temperature was about 37. Saturday was a little better. It was about 45. So kind of comparable to what we're playing up here in March. So it wasn't terrible. And as I told you, when you win, it's always a little more tolerable. So
do you mind going on these to start the season back-to-back weekends where you're taking these long trips, equidistant but different? Yeah,
it's tiring. I mean, you're spending a lot of hours on a bus, and you're trying to sleep on a bus, and that's never a great comfortable thing. So, but this time of year when you're northeast school, you gotta do what you gotta do to play, and that's part of what you gotta do to play is find someone who has the same weekend open that you do and go head down there. Davidson obviously was a little nicer, 70 degrees, so that was
I heard about that.
We'll take that anytime. I got planned Florida, I guess, so that we know it's warm.
You should,
right?
Or at least go to the West Coast. Jeez. Right. Go to SoCal.
Somewhere where the temperature, Texas, somewhere where
anything,
we know.
Even right. Kentucky was out of the question.
You're not kidding.
All right, well, the first game against Morehead State, you took the series 2 out of 3 wins, so that's great coming out of the weekend 3-3 at 500. The first game was a 5-3 victory. Eric Snyder got his first victory of the season, pitched 2 2/3 innings relief, and you guys scored 3 runs in the 10th, when it counted. The offenses seemed to be working pretty good through the first 4 games. I mean, we're at game 1. But,
yeah, it's getting better. I mean, I wasn't thrilled with it the first weekend at Davidson. I thought we hit a lot better this past weekend.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and you got Logan Fratty, second game of the season. The only blemish on his start was a 2-run home run. Otherwise, a fantastic line. He did very well.
Yeah, I'm very happy with Logan. I think Logan's, he's only a sophomore. He's obviously a mainstay in our rotation now, and he's one of those kids that pounds the strike zone and forces you to beat him. And, when you got a kid doing that and you force a hitter to beat you, the higher level you go, the harder it is to hit. So it works to our benefit. And he's definitely a hard-working kid and a very smart pitcher. And one of the things I really admire about him is he's a thinking man's pitcher, and that definitely helps him. And
the Saturday was a doubleheader, game 2. Of the series, but game 1 of that doubleheader was an 8-7 loss, very close loss. Riley Moonen went 2 for 5. Tondi off the bench, 2 for 2, 2 RBIs. Brendan Butler struggled in the middle of the game, but John Chalupa and Joe Flack, 2 newcomers, combined for a nice line. So give me some of your overall thoughts of that game.
It was another game we could have easily won. I thought we made a couple of key mistakes again. I talk about baseball IQ, and I just feel our baseball IQ isn't always what it should be, and I thought it definitely hurt us in that game. Brennan had a hard time getting loose with the cold. He told me, and he's not used to coming in as a relief pitcher, not to make excuses for him, but he wasn't really totally ready, and that was probably part of the problem that I kind of pushed the issue with him because of the situation. So
did you want to bring him in relief because you knew you had a second game coming up?
Yeah, well, I knew I had a 4-2 lead, and it was like, we already had won 1 game, so let's just try to take this game, and we know we're winning the series. So, I'll try to go to one of my best. That's how I looked at it.
To bring Butler in to try to just soak up innings, keep
right?
the lead.
But he was out of his element basically, and he takes a long time to get loose. Like when he starts, he takes a long time to get loose, and he prepares a little sooner than other pitchers. So probably not a great situation for him to have been in. So.
But at that point, 1-1 in the series with Morehead State. The second game was a big 10-5 victory in the offense. And I do want to mention before in that game, the first game of the doubleheader, 15 hits as a team. So the offense was going well, and then 16 hits on top of it. So 31 hits on a Saturday. Pretty good.
Yeah, I know one of the goals that the guys had set was to have a 40-hit 3-game series in a weekend, and we actually did that already. So
second weekend of the season.
Pretty solid, yeah. That's pretty impressive. I think it was the second game Saturday. I'm not sure which one. Second game Saturday. I'm not sure which one, but I think it was the second game Saturday. Every starter in the lineup had at least 1 hit, which was pretty impressive. Especially again coming out of the gym where you haven't really seen live pitching. Yeah, I just felt that we hit better every day. As in the 6 games we've played, we've hit better every day, and that's part of what you hope starts happening as guys get more at-bats. And in fairness, guys like Siebler and McClure and Brennan, who basically didn't play last year, I've told them, the sooner we get to 30 to 50 at-bats for you guys, the sooner you're going to be back to what you were,
You talk about the baseball IQ, and, I mean, it's early in the season. This stuff will gradually come in as a practice, as keep going, and you get more games under your belt. But you have to be happy that by the second weekend already, you're going through 40-hit weekends and everything. The offense, I mean, hitting-wise, the team's looking good.
Yeah, I really don't have any major complaints right now. There's things we have to work on. There's things that we haven't been able to work on because we're inside, like base running, and we're still making some mistakes there, and just decision making that's not been terrific. But I think that comes with the territory too, and we're still a young team. I mean, one of the things that I keep saying is not a single senior on the team, and that that means this is my team for the next 2 years with additions coming in next year. So we should only keep getting better.
Nick Cuono came on in relief, kind of like I guess what you had in plan for Brendan in Game 1. He comes in Game 2, nearly pitches 7 innings of 1-run ball, great line. Just talk about his effort in relief.
One of the things I've told the pitchers is that I felt finally this year we have depth. When you take over a program, it takes at least 2 to 3 years of recruiting to kind of get it to become your flavor type team. And I'm a big pitching guy, and I just felt you got to have depth on the pitching staff, and I kind of emphasized that before we've emphasized depth on the position players. Hopefully next year we clean that up, and then we're solid on both ends. But I kind of feel that I finally have a pitching staff where I feel very comfortable with bringing in any one of them. I kind of felt in the past that if we got behind in a game, I didn't have enough middle relief to get me to the back end of the bullpen. And so, a lead that was 4-2 against us would become 6-2 or 8-2 by the time, and then the game's over before you get these other guys. Now I feel like I bring in a kid that can hold it right where it is, and Nick Cuono was a great example of that. I mean, you're talking about a kid who last year as a freshman made something like 7 starts for us and pitched second most amount of innings on the team. And he's another kid like Logan that just pounds the strike zone. He throws strikes all the time. And he made a throwing error on a bunt, or he probably would have been scoreless for his whole 7 innings. I thought he did an outstanding job for us in a key spot.
In that game also, Eric Snyder racked up his 2nd save of the season, just extending that career record. He's got a lot of time to.
That was a cheapie, though.
Himself.
It was a cheapie. I mean, it was 10-5, bases loaded.
Oh yeah. By the way, that's what I wanted to ask. That's the craziest save situation I heard. I had to talk with Chris about that.
Yeah, the save rule is if the on deck hitter is the tying
that's
run.
What he explained.
It's a save. So,
I thought it was the guy at the plate.
It was 6-5 going to the top of the 9th. So obviously Eric has been warming up. And I told Nick, "You're done. I'm going to give the ball to Snyder with a 1-run lead."
Right.
And then we scored 4 in the top of the 9th, so it was 10-5. So I said to Cuono, he hadn't iced yet. I was like, "You want to finish it?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll finish it." I mean, he'd thrown 7 good innings, so obviously I owed him the ball. So he went out there, and all of a sudden there's a little walk and a little base hit. And then I think Mickey made an error at first base, and all of a sudden his base is loaded, 2 out. And I'm like, you know what? Before I fool around here, he gives up a double, and it's 10-7, and Italian runs at second base or something. I said, what am I, nuts? Eric's warmed up. Why not use him? You know? So even Snyder looked at me. He says, "Is this really necessary?" And I said, "Yeah, it's a safe situation. It's necessary." And then we're not going to wait till they get another double on the board. Now all of a sudden it's a crisis time. I'd rather do it now, And of course he came in and got the guy out, and we got to go home on a happy bus ride.
Yeah, 1 out, save.
Right,
crazy with a 5-run lead.
But you know what? He's earned an awful lot of his saves. So to get a cheap one for him doesn't hurt either.
Absolutely not. And part of that 4-run 9th was Joel Roman. Had a big game at the plate that day. RBIs in 3 different at-bats. And that one was the 3-run 2-out double. And we will have him for an interview in just a few minutes. But talk about Roman's weekend.
Sacrifice fly machine, I'll tell you. I mean, Joel's one of those kids that there's a runner right there and less than 2 out. And you almost always expect that he's going to drive home the run because he's just a good contact hitter. And he knows what he's doing as far as knowing what job needs to be done at the time. And he had, I think, a sac fly and a base hit to drive in the first 2 runs he drove in. And in the 9th inning, bases loaded, and boom, he puts one in the gap for us, and it's game over. I mean, kid's a trooper. He's been out there basically since the day he got here, and he's shown no reason to change that.
Well, perfect. So a great way to end the weekend, getting the win in that game. But the true highlight probably of that game, I think, might be Riley Moonen picking up his 100th and 101st hit in that game.
Yeah,
Riley Moonen.
Riley's a player. I mean, he's a terrific center field defensively, and he's an outstanding hitter, an outstanding baseball player. You know, I've clearly said many times that he's the best player on a ball club, and he just continues to get better and better and blossom as a player. He's really a 5-2 player. He can hit. He hits with power. He can run. He can field. And he can throw. So I mean, there's nothing not to like about him. He in high school played for Dick Rockwell's son, Kevin. Dick Rockwell was the coach at Lemoyne for like 40 years, well-known Division I college baseball coach, outstanding coach. And I remember when I talked to Kevin about recruiting Riley. Riley was like a 3-sport athlete in high school, playing soccer and basketball and baseball. And he told me, he says, you get him focusing on baseball. He says, I really believe this kid's a 3-hitter at a Division I level. And
wow.
Sure enough, junior year, that's where he's hitting now. So obviously his high school coach definitely knew what he was talking about. And it's been our benefit because Riley is a super player. And when you got 100 hits this stage of your career, you're talking about someone that's probably going to challenge for the all-time hit record before he's done.
And this upcoming weekend, just tell me how important it is, how good it feels to come back to New Jersey. I know the weather's obviously not optimal; it's not even close. But you three home games. First is going to be a doubleheader on Saturday at Naimoli Complex. All 3 games against Lafayette.
Yeah, well, obviously we got a little issue called snow in the way right now. So hopefully, from my understanding, the field's going to be plowed in the next day or two. And hopefully that will make it possible, thanks to Mr. Namoli, that we have a turf field and are able to play. Because the temperature on the weekend is supposed to be in the 40s. Not that that's terrific, but that's about what we played in down in Kentucky. So we're definitely looking forward to playing at home. One of the keys to being a good team, and I know the year we went to the playoffs, we did not lose a series at home. And that's one of my lines to the guys always is you have to at least tie at home or win the series when you play a 4-game series. This is a 3-game series, so anything can happen. But yeah, it's going to feel good to finally play a home game, too. Get back on our own field in our own territory.
That's all I have for you this week, Gary. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure, Ryan.
All right, my pleasure as well. And we will talk next Tuesday and have it up. And then you got a couple games against St. John's and JT, one-off games, I believe.
And then I think Seton Hall after that.
Yeah, that's a big thing we'll talk about.
Who just beat Arizona twice, Oklahoma State, and I'm hoping for the next snowstorm to be that weekend.
All right, and stick with after this break. We will have Corbin Gapski talking with Joel Roman. And thank you for watching this episode of Knights Baseball Roundup. Check back next week and follow your Knights on FDUKnights.com. Thanks for watching this week.
Thank you, Ryan. On this part of the FDU Baseball Knights Roundup, I am joined here with Joel Roman. Joel, you look kind of relaxed right now. It might be because this is the second time I've interviewed you since you've been to college.
Yeah, it is.
So you're kind of ready for my questions. I think you're prepared.
Yeah, I'm all right.
So let's talk about your record so far. You guys are 3-3 on the season. You're at 500. Last year at this point, you guys were 2-4, so that's 1 game off. So is there a difference from this year's team in your eyes and last year's team? Because it's only 1 game, so can you really determine that right now?
Yeah, definitely. We're playing with like a different swagger. We're all playing better. Like the chemistry's even better. The freshmen are having a great impact on the team right now. Everyone's just picking each other up, and it's a great time right now.
And let's talk about what you're doing so far. You're batting .391. You have already 3 doubles, 6 RBIs, 12 total bases, and you're already catching up to your numbers from last year. You had 10 doubles last year. You had 18 RBIs. So let's talk about what your season's been so far. You're off to a really hot start. So what do you have to say about that?
Right now, I'm just seeing the ball really well right now. Playing well, got a lot of confidence. My teammates are picking me up. They're helping me out as well. So everyone's just doing well, and I'm feeding off their energy. So I'm glad we're all doing well so far.
And you're feeding off of each other, and I got to talk about possibly Ryan Kresge as well, former FDU baseball player, one of the best in program history. This is his first full season with the Knights. He came in like midway through last season. So what kind of impact has Ryan Kresge had? And he's a left-hand hitter yourself. Yeah. So what can we talk about Ryan Kresge about?
Coach, he's just a great guy. He helped us defensively so a lot, me, McCann, Sprague, a lot of us, mostly infielders because he was an infielder himself. Mm-hmm. But offensively, he helps the lefties out a lot because he's the lefty himself. He knows a lot about the game, and he's wise. He knows what he's talking about, so we listen to him.
Now, this is more like a personal thing, but you know that's a long season.
Yeah,
you saw that last year as a freshman. So what kind of things have you been doing maybe to keep this consistency going and getting through a long season, what you guys go through every single year?
Yeah. Well, for the most part, we practice a lot. So we condition, obviously Kyle. We work out with Kyle. And at practice, we all work hard. We run at practice. We push each other. So we help each other get better every day.
Great. And finally, let's talk about a little bit what's been going on. You guys went down to Davidson's, you guys went down south, then you came back to Teaneck, had some practices, then you went back down to Morehead State. So you guys are getting the travel points up.
Yeah.
So now this weekend, you're here in Teaneck. You're going up against Lafayette, and you're going in a doubleheader with them. That's going to be at the Namoli Family Baseball Complex. So recently, I've heard that you guys have been going on the field and you guys have been stomping on the snow, trying to break it up a little bit, speed up the process a little bit. It's supposed to be 50 degrees this weekend, so I'm going to do my little meteorologist now. It's supposed to be 50 degrees this weekend. We had the plow trucks coming in, so we're going to try to play some baseball this weekend. So are you guys ready for this weekend?
Oh, definitely. We're ready. We came off a good weekend, so we're ready this weekend for Lafayette.
Well, there you have it, folks. Joel Roman is ready for this weekend. Make sure to go to FDUKnights.com for all updates, videos, and stats of FD Athletics and FDU Baseball. Remember, every single week, watch the Knights Baseball Roundup with me and Ryan Uhlich. Joel, thank you for your time. Thanks for chatting with Corbin.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.